Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a company that isn't just, part of the technological revolution. It's quite literally fueling it. We're talking about the memory chips that are the foundational building blocks of intelligence, especially for the artificial intelligence systems that are transforming everything around us. These aren't obscure components. They are the literal engine room for the future.
Exactly. Without advanced memory, these massive data sets and complex algorithms that drive AI, well, they simply couldn't function. It's the unsung hero, really, enabling so many of the breakthroughs we're seeing.
And our mission today is to dive deep into an investment analysis report on one of the absolute key players in this space. Micron Technology, Inc., ticker symbol MU. They're a global leader in innovative memory and storage solutions. We're going to unpack what Micron does, how they're uniquely positioned to capitalize on this whole AI revolution, dissect their financial health, understand their place in a highly competitive yet fascinatingly concentrated market, and explore what the future might hold for them. Our goal is to provide you, the listener, with a shortcut to being truly well-informed about a company that is undeniably at the heart of the digital economy.
Yeah, and we'll highlight some truly surprising facts and crucial insights that hopefully make even dense financial topics engaging and actionable. Let's start by grounding ourselves in Micron's core business because it's just so foundational to everything AI.
Okay, let's unpack this. Micron designs and manufactures essential memory types: dynamic random access memory, or DRAM, NAND flash memory, and NOR flash memory. But for someone like me, and maybe many of our listeners who aren't chip architects, what does this actually mean in terms of powering something as complex as AI or, say, autonomous vehicles?
Well, these aren't just generic chips, right? They are foundational components for these transformative technologies like AI and autonomous vehicles. They serve critical, high-demand markets like computing, networking, mobile, and even automotive. And beyond the basic memory types, Micron also offers specialized solutions, notably multi-chip packages, or MCPs.
CPs, right?
Think of these as highly integrated, sort of custom-designed memory solutions. They're engineered to optimize power consumption, maximize data density, and significantly enhance operational speed. These are all, non-negotiable requirements for high-performance applications like AI.
So they're not just making memory, they're making highly specialized smart memory for incredibly demanding uses. And I've seen terms like high bandwidth memory or HBM at DDR5X and CXL-based memory. These are increasingly critical for next-gen computing, especially AI, right?
Yeah.
How do these really differentiate Micron?
Absolutely. Think of HBM not just as a superhighway for data, but one built vertically, almost like a skyscraper. This vertical stacking, technically called a through-silicon via or TSV, is crucial because it allows immense amounts of data to flow incredibly fast between the memory and the processor. This dramatically cuts down the distance data has to travel, which is a major bottleneck in traditional memory. For example, Micron's HBM3E products, they're used in NVIDIA's AI acceleration cards, and they've reportedly reduced training time for large AI models by a significant 18%.
18%, that's a huge leap in efficiency.
It really is. That's massive for training these complex models.
And it's not just for the giant data centers, is it? This tech shows up elsewhere.
No, not at all. Take their LPDDR5X memory technology. It achieved a breakthrough 10 nanosecond delay, and that's integrated into something as ubiquitous as the Xiaomi 14 Ultra smartphone.
In a phone, really.
Yeah. It enhances AI photography by increasing the raw burst cache depth to 48 frames. It gives you basically a zero-weight experience when you're taking complex photos. It just shows how deeply embedded their cutting-edge tech is across the entire AI spectrum, from supercomputers right down to the device in your hand.
That's truly fascinating. From massive AI training to taking better pictures on your phone, Micron's technology is making a tangible difference. And speaking of significant differences, the financial story here isn't just about growth. It's a remarkable narrative of resurgence, isn't it?
It truly is. Micron has shown an incredibly robust financial rebound from some significant losses back in fiscal year 2023. Their fiscal year 2024 revenue soared to $25.11 billion. That's a sharp increase from $15.54 billion the prior year.
Big jump.
Huge jump. And critically, they returned to GAAP net profitability. They reported $778 million in income, which is a stark contrast to a staggering $5.833 billion loss in fiscal year 2023.
Wow, that's a dramatic swing back to profitability in just 1 year. What about their more recent performance, like in the second fiscal quarter of 2025? Did that continue?
Yes, their momentum kept going. In FQ2 2025, revenue hit $8.05 billion, a solid increase from $5.82 billion year over year. Jap net income reached an impressive $1.58 billion, and their operating cash flow saw a dramatic rise to $3.94 billion in that quarter. That's up from $1.22 billion in the same quarter the year before.
Okay.
These numbers point to a very strong recovery and, importantly, healthy operational cash flow.
So the rebound is clear. But what are analysts projecting for the immediate future? Are they, seeing this momentum continue?
Absolutely. Analysts are forecasting significant continued growth. For fiscal year 2025, revenue is projected at $36.56 billion. That would be a remarkable 45.60% year-over-year growth.
45%, wow.
And even more strikingly, their earnings per share, or EPS, is projected at $7.22. That's a staggering 931.45% year-over-year increase.
900%, goodness.
Yeah. And the fiscal year 2026 projections are equally strong. This isn't just a recovery, it's looking like a projected explosion of growth.
That's truly exponential growth if those projections hold.
Mhm.
Where's a lot of that coming from? Is it still primarily tied to that AI demand we talked about?
It is predominantly. High bandwidth memory, HBM, is an enormous driver. Their HBM revenue alone surpassed $1 billion just in FQ2 2025. And here's the crucial detail, the kind that makes you pause. Micron's entire HBM capacity for 2025 is already sold out.
We sold out for the whole year.
Sold out. They are actively negotiating new contracts for 2026 as we speak. The data center HBM market itself is projected to surge from an estimated $35 billion in 2025 to a massive $100 billion by 2030.
Sold out for an entire year. That's an incredible indicator of demand. But what's truly fascinating, almost counterintuitive, is that despite this incredible demand and being completely sold out, their non-GAAP gross margins saw a sequential decline.
Right.
It went from 37.9% in FQ2 2025 to a forecast of 36.5% for FQ3 2025. What does that tell us about the underlying dynamics of this market, even with such high demand?
That's a really insightful point. It speaks to the fundamental razor-thin profit nature of even a booming oligopoly. Even when demand is overwhelming, the memory industry remains fiercely competitive on pricing. It's not just about raw sales. Operational efficiency and cost control are absolutely non-negotiable for Micron to maintain profitability, even as they chase this massive HBM opportunity.
Right, so they're selling everything they can possibly make. But the market is still cutthroat enough that margins might not expand as much as you'd intuitively expect. That brings us neatly to how they navigate such a competitive and rapidly expanding market.
Indeed, the global memory chip market is poised for explosive growth. Projections show it's surging from around $257 billion in 2024 to an astonishing $678 billion by 2031. That's a compound annual growth rate of nearly 15%. And it's driven by everything from AI and IoT to advanced computing.
And this growth is translating to some pretty impressive pricing power for the manufacturers, isn't it? I read some truly surprising numbers on that.
It is. Average selling prices, ASPs, for DRAM are forecasted to rise maybe 15–20% year over year in 2024, and NAND ASPs maybe 10–15%. But what's truly intriguing, as you said, is that some specific DRAM models actually saw nearly 50% price increases in a single month.
50% in a month, that's unbelievable.
This rapid appreciation is directly attributed to the AI boom and also the disciplined supply control exercised by the major manufacturers.
Okay. Disciplined supply control. It really highlights how concentrated this market is. It's not just a free-for-all, is it?
Not at all. The DRAM market in particular operates as an oligopoly. It's dominated by just three major players: Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron. Together, they hold over 90% of the DRAM market share.
90%, just three companies.
Exactly. This isn't just about three big companies. It means they have immense power over supply. When demand outstrips supply, like it is now with AI, these few players can dictate pricing in a way that's almost unheard of in other tech component markets.
Okay, so within this powerful oligopoly, that high bandwidth memory, the HBM race, must be incredibly intense. Who's leading there, and how is Micron positioning itself?
Well, SK Hynix currently leads in HBM market share. They held around 70% in Q1 2025, but Micron is aggressively expanding its HBM3E shipments. Their stated goal is to achieve an HBM market share similar to their overall DRAM supply share by Q4 2025.
So catching up fast is the plan.
That seems to be the goal. And what's also an intriguing detail here is that Samsung, another major player, has reportedly faced ongoing challenges in HBM validation. If those reports are accurate, that could open a significant opportunity for Micron to gain ground faster than expected.
That's potentially a massive opportunity if Samsung stumbles. What's Micron's specific technical edge in this HBM race? What are they doing differently?
Well, their HBM3E products feature a 12-layer through-silicon via stacking structure. Remember we talked about that vertical highway?
Yeah, the skyscraper analogy.
Right. This is the core of it. This allows them to achieve an incredible bandwidth of 1.2 terabytes per second. Pretty amazing. They've also adopted what they call a limited EUV manufacturing strategy, EUV, or extreme ultraviolet lithography.
That's the super precise etching technology.
Exactly. It's like using the most precise paintbrush imaginable to draw incredibly tiny circuits onto the silicon. But using it strategically, but maybe not everywhere, they can achieve incredible detail on their chips while maintaining a remarkably stable yield rate of over 92%.
Ah, the yield rate, that's critical.
Absolutely key when demand is so high and you need reliable output. This combination of advanced design and reliable manufacturing positions Micron to capture a projected 28% of the AI acceleration card market in 2025.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, let's talk about their global footprint, because it seems they have a very strategic approach to manufacturing and R&D.
They certainly do. Micron has its headquarters and a recently expanded research and development center of excellence in Boise, Idaho. But their operational scale is truly global. They have 11 manufacturing sites and 21 design center locations spread across the world.
And they have that absolutely massive investment underway right there in Idaho, don't they?
That's right. They're undertaking a jumbo-sized expansion of their Boise fab project. It includes 2 new fabrication plants. This represents the largest construction project in Idaho's history. Production is expected to commence sometime in 2027. And what's particularly strategic here, especially in today's geopolitical climate, is Micron's unique status. They are the only U.S.-based DRAM manufacturer. This gives them a profound advantage in a world increasingly focused on domestic supply chain resilience and, technological sovereignty.
That's a huge strategic advantage, especially with current global complexities. How are they navigating those complex geopolitical waters, particularly with a market like China?
They've implemented what they call a global technology with local delivery model in China. This approach has apparently improved GRAM yield rates there and helped foster a local supply chain. For instance, they've increased their 3D NAND packaging localization to 35% to ensure compliance with China's data security laws.
Okay, so adapting locally.
Exactly. It demonstrates a remarkable adaptability in a complex geopolitical landscape. It shows they can maintain market access while addressing local regulations and building local trust. They also have extensive strategic partnerships with industry leaders like Intel and AMD for co-development, which further strengthens their ecosystem and future product roadmap.
It sounds like a company that's making really smart long-term plays in a highly dynamic environment. Now, let's switch gears a bit and look at investor sentiment and the technical signals for Micron stock itself. With all that strategic positioning and financial momentum, how does the market actually valuing Micron right now? What's the overall vibe from the analyst community?
Well, the analyst community maintains an overwhelming strong buy consensus. Their average recommendation is 1.47 out of 5, where 1 is a strong buy. Out of 30 firms covering Micron, 22 have issued a strong buy rating. So that indicates a high level of confidence in Micron's future prospects.
And what did the valuation metrics tell us? Is the stock already running hot given this incredible turnaround and projected growth?
That's a good question. Micron's current price to earnings, or PE ratio, is around 29.57. However, if you look at the forward PE ratios, based on those future earnings estimates, they drop significantly. 17.12 for fiscal year 2025, and an even lower 10.95 for fiscal year 2026.
So much lower looking forward.
Exactly. This suggests that analysts anticipate substantial earnings growth, making the stock appear much more reasonably valued when considering its future potential. It implies the market hasn't fully priced in that earnings surge yet.
That makes a lot of sense. And what about the big institutional players, the pension funds, the mutual funds? Are they buying into this story?
Absolutely. There's high institutional ownership at 79.03% of shares outstanding. That represents a value of over $109 billion. And overall institutional activity indicates a net positive sentiment, meaning more institutions are increasing their positions than decreasing them. This suggests accumulation by major players who are betting on Micron's continued success.
Okay.
As for the stock performance itself, it's trading closer to its 52-week high of $144.07, currently around $122.07 as of June 25th, 2025. It's shown strong recent performance, up over 31% over the last 3 months and over 38% over 6 months. That indicates significant bullish momentum.
So the market clearly likes what it sees. And from a pure technical analysis perspective, what do the charts tell us about the stock's current trajectory?
The overall technical rating is a strong buy. This is supported by most oscillators like the Relative Strength Index or RSI and MACD. These are essentially momentum indicators that tell us if the stock's recent price changes indicate strong buying interest or if it's maybe getting overstretched. Right now, they're signaling a healthy upward trend.
Okay.
And all the simple moving averages, the 5-day, 20-day, 50-day, and 200-day, are currently below the price, which is typically seen as a strong bullish signal. However, there's a nuance here. Some sell signals appear from certain medium-term moving average crossovers, although they're noted as having weak or soft strength.
Okay, so not strong sell signals, but a little bit of caution maybe.
Exactly. It hints at potential short-term consolidation after the recent rally, perhaps some profit-taking before its next potential leg up. Nothing too alarming, but something to watch.
So a strong long-term technical outlook, but maybe some short-term choppiness could be expected as the stock digests its recent big gains. Where are the key price levels for our listeners to keep in mind if they're watching the stock closely?
Sure. As of June 24th, 2025, the stock price was around $123.66. It's currently testing immediate resistance levels around $125.05 to $124.46. If it breaks decisively through those, it signals potential for further upward movement. On the downside, support levels are around $121.27 down to $119.76. Those would be the key areas where buying interest might emerge if there's a pullback.
That's great insight into the stock's immediate picture. Now, no company or industry comes without its challenges or inherent risks. What are the key considerations and future risks for Micron that you want to highlight for our listeners?
Right. The primary consideration for any semiconductor company is its inherent cyclicality. This industry is famously known for its boom and bust cycles. While we're clearly in a boom now, driven largely by AI, future downturns are always possible despite the current favorable conditions.
The cycle always turns eventually.
It always turns eventually. It's just a matter of when, not if. They've shown a robust rebound, but you have to keep that cyclical nature in mind.
And what about those gross margins we touched on earlier? The ones that seem to be under a bit of pressure, even with sky-high demand.
That's right. It's definitely important to monitor those gross margin trends closely because of the ongoing pricing competition. Even when demand is high, that competitive landscape can still exert pressure on profitability. Also, given the massive capital expenditures for these new fabs we discussed, and their increasing debt levels, their total debt was over $15 billion.
15 billion, yeah.
The efficient deployment of this capital is absolutely crucial. They really need to ensure those huge investments translate into future returns.
Makes sense. And with their global footprint and that unique status as the sole U.S.-based DRAM manufacturer, how do geopolitical tensions factor into their risks?
Yeah, geopolitical headwinds are a major concern, no doubt about it. The increasing complexities from U.S.-China trade tensions, export controls, regulatory compliance. These are all significant operational risks. These can impact supply chains, market access, and overall strategy, making their local delivery model in China all the more critical, but also potentially sensitive.
Go on. Are there any ongoing legal challenges that listeners should maybe be aware of?
Yes, there are a couple worth noting. Micron is involved in an ongoing patent infringement lawsuit with Yangtze Memory Technologies Company, or YMTC, regarding their 3D NAND technology. They are also facing a class action lawsuit concerning alleged misleading statements regarding NAND product demand in the past. These legal disputes, they can lead to financial penalties or reputational damage, and they're definitely worth tracking.
Got it.
And as a final, very immediate catalyst, Micron has its Q3 2025 financial call scheduled for June 25th, 2025. That call will provide the latest update on their performance and outlook, and it could certainly move the stock.
Okay, so to try and synthesize all of this for you, the listener, Micron is clearly a critical player. They're providing the essential memory that fuels this AI revolution. They've shown a truly remarkable financial turnaround, and they hold a strong position within an oligopolistic market that's experiencing explosive growth. Their strategic investments in cutting-edge technology like HBM and in manufacturing, especially being the only U.S.-based DRAM manufacturer, seem to position them incredibly well to capitalize on these current market tailwinds.
That's right. They are undoubtedly well-equipped to leverage the immense demand from AI and high-performance computing. However, as we discussed, they face those inherent industry challenges like cyclicality and margin pressures, alongside significant geopolitical complexities and ongoing legal risks that demand careful, proactive management. It's definitely a high-stakes, high-reward environment they're operating in.
That's a comprehensive and truly insightful picture of Micron. So what does this all mean
For us, the listeners, as we think about the broader implications, here's something to maybe ponder. How will the escalating global demand for AI-specific memory, particularly that high-bandwidth memory, continue to reshape not just the semiconductor industry itself, but global supply chain dynamics and even national strategic interests? Consider what Micron's unique position as the sole U.S.-based DRAM manufacturer means for the future of technological sovereignty and international competition. These are seemingly small chips, but they hold immense strategic importance for the world's technological future.